All right, so what I've got here is I've got a Onan fuel pump. This is the pump that comes on the B48s, B43s, P218s, P220s. Normally they're a lot dirtier than this, but I'm gone ahead and cleaned it up for this video. What I want to do is I want to show you how I clean these. Because a lot of time, well, actually, I'll back up a little bit. When I first got into John Deere's, namely 318s, the first thing I did, and I've told the story in a couple of videos, the first thing I did is there wasn't enough fuel getting to the engine, and so I went out and I put an electric pump on. Spent like $75 and put an electric pump on. That electric pump is still working fine to this day. I've got it on my 1988 318. But what's really important is I probably didn't need to do that because these pumps actually are not typically bad. What you can do is you can clean them. Now, they do go bad over time. So I'm not saying they necessarily don't go bad. But instead of, going out and spending the money on either a new pump or a used pump or, trying to find an electric pump, whatever, take some time, clean it. It's pretty simple, too. All you need is a flat-bladed screwdriver. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to see if I can do this over this pan right here. And all you have to do is undo 4 screws. And if you hear it, it's kind of popping in there. So it's actually coming apart on its own. Like I said, I have already gone ahead and cleaned up this pump because it's a little easier to see everything that I'm doing. And how these pumps work is the pulse from the engine comes in this back line right here. So this line actually goes through the hole in the engine tins. The pulse comes in and there's a rubber diaphragm in here that pumps back and forth. And so what we're going to do, and that pumping back and forth is what pumps the fuel out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully, very carefully, I'm going to see if I can, sometimes I can just get my, well, I'm going to pull the back off first. So if you look there, so there's a spring. So you make sure we keep all the parts together. So the back came off first. So there's a spring. I'm just going to set that down there. Now we have this rubber diaphragm here. Now this is the difficult part to take off because what will happen is this diaphragm can break, and so that little metal piece comes off. That little metal piece is what bumps back and forth. And so now we got to carefully take off this rubber diaphragm. Now there should be some fuel still in here. Just like that. Okay. Now what you notice is there's a bunch of crud down here in the bottom. What will happen sometimes is that crud will actually get in those little check valves right there, and that's what causes a lot of the problem. So I'm going to put that rubber diaphragm right there. Now we need to take the front off, and so basically the fuel's coming in here, and in this particular case, this one's designed to go out this side, so it comes in either side over here, and it goes out this side. Let me see if I can get this off without breaking it. There we go. And yes, there is the possibility to tear the rubber diaphragms in here, at which point the diaphragms are no longer available that I know of. And so yes, it is a ruined pump then. But I mean, this is a really good first way to try to fix things compared to just going out and spending the money. You just have to be really careful. There we go. Now look how much trash is in there, particularly in the bottom here. And so we know that they're probably not getting the suction that it necessarily always needs. And then we're going to go ahead and pull this up. And there we go. So now there's our inside of our pump. So like I said, fuel comes in here, and then it's, let's see here. Well, now I've lost my orientation on it. So, yeah, let's see here. Fuel comes in this one. So it comes in this side. These check valves, when it pulses, it pushes those valves and sucks in, I guess. This is terrible. I used to know how these things worked. I remember the flow. So, anyway, that's beside the point. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take and I'm going to clean all this stuff up, and then I'll come back and we'll put it back together. All right. So got all the parts clean. This took me, oh gosh, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. Screen looks like it's got a... There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so let's put this back together. So we've got this side right here, which we know this gasket belongs to, and it is directional. If you look, the little pins there are definitely directional. And then we know our metal piece goes in here like this, and our spring goes on top like that. Now, the only problem is these are going to fall off if we put it together right now, because there's nothing to hold the part together. So instead, we're just going to hold that there because it's going to stay in with those pins right here, those studs right there. Same thing with this side. Definitely you can tell which way it needs to be hooked up, or which way the gasket needs to go in there. That does not go that way, and so we have to turn it. See here, it doesn't go this way, so we have to turn it over like so. And then it lines up with our studs. So now what we can do is this side goes on like this. So now we've got a base that we can hold on to when we're ready to put the screws in, which actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put one in like so. Actually, no, for what I remember when I did this in the past, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the middle there. And I'm going to take, and this one lines up the same way. We're just going to put that on there like that, and then I'm going to hold it together with my hands. And then basically I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 of the screws in there. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And that way we know it's going to stay together. And then we can tighten the screws up. And now if we're having trouble with this pump, we can put it back on the machine and test it. And this has cost us, you know, even if you have to get take the side tin off of the engine, you know, it's cost you 15-20 minutes of your time to clean it up. And now you can test it without having to buy a new pump. Or if, say, it's a Sunday and the store isn't open or something along those lines, or you don't live anywhere close to a store. I mean, I look at it this way. If this was me and I had trouble with this pump and I didn't have spares on hand, I mean, it would be 4 or 5 days before I could get one, because where I live, I mean, just there's nobody around. There's no stores around. So if it happened on a Saturday, I'd have to order it. Say it happened on a Saturday afternoon, it'd be Monday or Tuesday before I could get a pump. Probably be Tuesday or Wednesday, more realistically. But that's how you clean these pulse pumps. Now they come in a couple different shapes. So this is the longer one. This is an older one. They have more square versions that are a little bit newer. I looked for one of those. I don't have one of those right now, but that's how you clean them. Leave your questions, comments below, and hopefully this video was helpful.